Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Reserved Investments. And if I'm doing this properly, you are seeing my screen in real time and you're also hearing my voice. If I'm doing this incorrectly, because I'm really not a techie, I am sitting alone in my basement office talking to myself, looking like an idiot right now. So I'm hoping it's the former. I won't know until I upload this video to YouTube. But if you guys haven't figured it out, what I'm going to be doing in today's video is I'm going to give you a little bit of the glimpse of what goes on behind the scenes at Reserved Investments. So for those unaware, I am a huge collector and investor in vintage Kenner Toys Star Wars proof cards. And it just so happens that right now, the Jeff Jacobs Part 2 collection is up for bid through Hake's auctions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over some of these pieces that I'm currently looking at in this auction. I'm going to break down my thought process, and I'm going to tell you point blank what I would be willing to pay for these items. You're also going to see how I research prices on these items and how I look up the population reports for these items in question as well. If you'll notice, if you look at the top of my screen, I have 3 browser tabs open. The first is on the Hake's Auctions homepage. The second, I'm signed into my account through Hake's Auctions, and it's also on the homepage. And the third, I'm actually signed in through the Collectible Grading Authority website. Now, if you don't know who Collectible Grading Authority is, they own AFA, Action Figure Authority. Action Figure Authority is the leading toy third-party grading company. I have it open to the page where I can look up the serial numbers of these items in question, which will give me direct access to the population reports. So I can see approximately in real time how many of these pieces exist in each subsequent grade. So this is going to be a great learning simulation for you guys if you really want to know what goes on in my head when I log in to an auction site that is currently running an auction at present time. Now, a couple of caveats here. First of all, let's type in proof card under the all categories section on the left-hand side of the screen on the Hake's website. This is going to pull up every single current Star Wars proof card that is readily available in this auction. Now, one thing that you will notice right here where my cursor is, there's a little over 21 days left in this auction. So this brings us to the first caveat. As I tell you guys, as a general rule, I do not bid early in any auction. Any auction that I partake in, for the most part, 99% of the time, I put my bids in at the last minute. This serves 2 purposes. Number 1, it prevents me from bidding against myself. Because if I put a bid in for one of these items, and let's say the bid's at $1,000, I put a bid in for $1,500, someone comes along and bids me up, and I bid again on that same piece, all is what I am doing is bidding against myself in real time. It makes no sense. I have done previous videos on this. Number 2, it also prevents me from overpaying for the item in question. I want to say a quote right now that's really going to resonate with some of you, especially if you come from a financial background like me. Always remember, in the antiques and collectibles trade especially, price is what you pay, value is what you get. There's going to be a lot of people that are probably surprised right now that as we go along through this, I am going to tell you exactly what I am willing to pay for each one of these pieces, assuming I'm interested in it. Now, this is going to shock some of you because I know there's some uneducated Timmy trolls out there that are going to look at that and they're going to go, well, gee, all I have to do is listen to what Reserved Investments is willing to pay for a piece. I just add 50 to $100 or the next bid increment to it, and I can outbid him. That is 100% true. You're 100% correct, little Timmy. And it doesn't bother me because it goes back to the quote I just said that was once said by Warren Buffett. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. The reason why I remain so level-headed in these markets is I don't get emotionally attached to these items. I don't suffer from FOMO, fear of missing out, which a lot of you guys do, and that's what gets you into trouble. Case in point, you're going to see as we go along here, when we start looking up some of these pieces using the population reports, there's only a handful of any of these proof cards existing in any subsequent grade out there on the market. There was literally, most likely, less than 50 of these pieces made. And Revenge of the Jedi proof cards, which is the majority of these proof cards we're going to be going over in this video, were all produced in a larger quantity than most other vintage Star Wars proof cards. So what that should tell you is, even though there's only a handful in existence, if I'm only willing to pay, let's say, $1,700 for one of these proof cards, and the bid automatically goes up to $1,800, $1,900, guess what? Price is what you pay, value is what you get. I will not get caught in a bidding war. Now, to be fair, I am a human being. Have I ever got caught in a bidding war? The answer is yes. It happens very, very rarely anymore. This was something that I was more susceptible to when I was in my late 20s, when I was in my early 30s. Now that I'm 48 years of age, honestly, if I miss out one of these pieces, I'll survive. I can let it go. Another piece that I want just as much will come up for bid, and if the price is right, I will pay that price. If the price is wrong, or it's a price I'm not comfortable with, somebody can easily come along and outbid me for the item. Now that I said all that, let's dive right in. So we're going to go right through these. This is the first piece we're looking at, and I want to make sure that you guys can all see my screen. Again, all the items in this auction end a little over 21 days from the time this video is being recorded. Now, I am going to try to get this video uploaded to YouTube as quickly as possible for you guys, but I just want to let you know this is a current auction that I am looking at. Now, this piece here, one of the first proof cards we come across, is a Revenge of the Jedi Luke Hoth outfit proof card. And this is in the coveted 85 near mint plus condition grade. Now, this is very important. When I look at proof cards, especially from the Revenge of the Jedi line, the grade that I am willing to accept, the bare minimum grade for the proof cards that I am attempting to invest in or add to my collection, the bare minimum is 85. Now, luckily, most people that had access to these proof cards and saved them, a lot of them are in 85 condition already. You are more likely to find more proof cards from the Revenge of the Jedi line in 85 condition than any other grade. You will sometimes come across an AFA 80 or an AFA 75, unless it's a really popular character or a proof card that we know is in a lot of demand or is somewhat scarce to find, like a Boba Fett proof card, a Darth Vader, a Luke Skywalker farm boy proof card. I would not suggest, if you are investing, going after those lower grades. Now, if we come across, which is not in this auction, a Power of the Force proof card, AFA 80 is acceptable for those type of proof cards because there's fewer in existence. Same is true with original Star Wars proof cards. But the Revenge of the Jedi line was made in ample quantities to the point that in most cases, you want at least a grade of 85 or better. But 85 is the optimal collecting grade for these types of proof cards. If you can afford one, or one comes up and it's an 85 plus or 90 condition, and it's going for a similar price, by all means buy it. I'm not telling you not to. But what I'm telling you is you should not be paying an extreme premium for a Revenge of the Jedi proof card in 85 condition, because that is the standard grade that you should accept as an investor, as a collector in this market. Now, what's really interesting, what we're going to do here, Hakes looks at this piece, and again, this is a Star Wars Revenge of the Jedi Luke Skywalker Hoth Battle Gear proof card in AFA 85. And they put a value code on each one of their items. This is technically their auction estimate. And they estimate this piece to be worth anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000. Now, in all honesty, right now, I'm going to tell you this. This item is not worth anywhere near $5,000. And what we're going to do next, before I tell you what I would be willing to pay for this, you see this number right here? This is the AFA serial number. So what I'm going to do is we're going to look at this number right here, and we're going to enter it up here. Again, this is the AFA website where we can look up the serial numbers. I'm going to hit enter. It's going to take us to this page. This item was graded back in 2006. It's an 85, and it is a Revenge of the Jedi proof card, and it's Luke Hoth Battle Gear. And that matches exactly what this says. So it is the correct item. You still want to check. You click here for the population report. Okay. If you scroll down, this is where you get the population report. You see this? There is only one graded higher in AFA 90. There are no 85 plus of these items, and there are 13 in 85. Now, if you come back here, this is why I told you, you don't want to go below 85. Again, on the population reports, there are 13 of these in 85 condition alone. There are 9 in AFA 80. There is 1 in AFA 70. There is actually 1 also in AFA 40. So there's 25 graded of these. Only 25 of these in existence, and the vast majority are in AFA 85. That's the minimum grade you want to accept for this item. Now, I know what you're already asking. Well, Sean, how much would you be willing to pay for this item? Well, we can do a little bit of market research on this, because let's be honest, Hakes is the market leader when it comes to vintage graded toys. Now, a lot of you at this particular point in time, you're going to be tempted to check heritage auctions. You're going to be tempted to check eBay, completed sales. I'm here to tell you, when it comes to proof cards, because of this limited market, and the fact is that Hakes is the market leader, you really only have to worry about doing market research through Hakes' past completed auctions. So this is what we're going to do. We are going to look up what a similar item sold for here through Hakes completed auctions. So let's do this. Past auctions. Let's come over here. Luke Skywalker Revenge proof card. Okay. We need to get to, let's see here, include completed auctions. Hit enter. Here we go. Okay. Now, all is what I did was, just so that you guys are aware, I typed in Luke Skywalker Revenge proof card because I wanted to make sure that I would get some hits. This is the item we just looked at. This is the current item for bid. But if you scroll down, you're going to see all these other examples that have previously sold. Now, obviously, we want the one that matches this. So I could easily scale down these search results, or I could just simply scroll down. Well, here's one. This one sold back in 2018, and it sold with the buyer's premium for $1,557.60. Now, in all honesty, this was an absolute steal for this item, but you have to remember, back in 2018, the market for proof cards wasn't as hot as it is today. So more than likely, this item in today's market is going to sell for more than $1,557. $57.60. And this price does include the buyer's premium. I want to make that very clear. When auction companies quote their sold price, it normally, almost all of the time, will include the buyer's premium. So let's see if there's any other items that sold. Well, here's one. This one sold for more. This one sold back in 2019 for $1,652, and this too is an AFA 85. Let's see if we can find any more. Well, here's another. This one sold back in 2022 for $2,364.96. So now, just by doing this limited market research, I really don't even have to go to the second page, but I will, because here's one that sold for $3,245 in 2024. As a matter of fact, a couple of months back, because this is November 2024. So you can see proof cards have become quite popular, because starting in 2018 all the way up through November of 2024, the price has been on an incline, meaning prices have increased. Now, how much would I then pay for this particular item at present time, knowing the population reports, knowing what people were willing to pay for this piece over the past few years? This is exactly how much I would pay for this item, and I'm going to tell you. I would put in a bid of $1,900, including the buyer's premium, for this item. Now, more than likely, I'm going to tell you, with that number being bid up for this item, more than likely I am not going to win this piece. But if there is a chance that I will win it at that price, guess what? Price is what I pay. Value is what I get. I'm not willing to go higher at present time for a piece like this, because there will be other opportunities to own this piece in the future. This is not an ultra rare item. And this is what confuses a lot of people. And this is what I wanted to talk about proof cards first, because people look at the population report and they go, well, Sean, there's only 25 of these in existence. Even in AF 85, there's only 13 of them, and there's only one graded higher in AFA 90. Wouldn't you consider this item rare? The problem is all things are relevant. The proof card collecting market is much more niche, much more esoteric than that of collecting the action figures and toys themselves. So there's less people operating in this market. You have to take that into account. So if I would put in a bid, which I'm not going to do right now, because all of what I would be doing is bidding against myself. If I would put in a bid of $1,900 for this item, and I wouldn't get it, somebody came along and outbid me, I would not be upset. What I would do is go to the next item on this list, which is another Revenge of the Jedi proof card. This just happens to be R2-D2 with sensor scope. Now this item, even with over 21 days left, has already been bid up to $1,577.77. In my opinion, we're getting a little crazy here. However, this is one of the more uncommon Revenge of the Jedi proof cards. That's really not saying that much, but it is somewhat uncommon. This doesn't come up for bid that much from what I recall. And again, I'm just going by memory on this. I could be completely wrong here, but I don't recall seeing this come up for bid too often. So here again, we're going to look at the serial number, which is 159-56136. We're going to go over here. And what do you think we're going to do? We're going to look up this serial number. 159-56136. I'm going to click submit. This item was graded back in 2006. Again, it does match the description. It's an AFA 85 Revenge of the Jedi proof of R2-D2 with sensor scope. Now we're going to click for the population report. And it's going to give us a breakdown of all the grades. So here we go. There are 3 of these in AFA 90. There's 1 in 85 plus condition, and there is 9 in AFA 85. Now, I would be okay with this piece in AFA 85. This is the optimal collecting grade for Revenge of the Jedi proofs. However, you most likely will occasionally come across, because there are more on the population reports here. There's an 80 plus, there's 3 in AFA 80, there's 3 in AFA 75, and there is 1 in AFA 70. Now, if I scroll all the way down, there's 21 of these in existence out there. If you remember the Luke Skywalker in Hoth battle gear, there was 25 total graded specimens. So this proof card, just looking at AFA examples, I am aware there are other third-party grading companies out there that do grade proof cards. I only right now care about AFA. I want to make that very clear because they are the current market leader. You can disagree with that, but that is the truth. If we're talking about coins, if I was looking at graded coins right now, I would have to take into account not only the PCGS population reports, but also NGC population reports. So that would be a much more dynamic market to do price research on. That's why I started with graded toys with a focus on proof cards, just to show you my process of analysis here. Now let's go back to the item. So if we want to look at previous sale items for this piece, at least through Hake's, all we need to do is we just search completed auctions once again. So we come here and we go, we're going to change this R2, D2, sensor scope. Let's see if we get any hits. Guess what? We got some hits. Now this is going to be very interesting because we have 2 pieces to look at. We have an AFA 90 that sold November 15th, 2018. So several years ago. And it is an AFA 90. I want to make that very clear. That is a high grade for this piece for $2,920.50. So this piece almost sold for $3,000 in AFA 90. But wait, there's more. We also have an AFA 80 plus, which sold back in 2022 for $1,770. Now, if you recall, if we come back here, this piece with 21 days left is already at $1,577.77. And again, this is for an AFA 85, near mint plus. If I was to bid on this item, I would put in a bid of $2,250. I would not go a penny more. Now, there is a chance I might be able to win this item at that price, assuming I wish to go in that direction. Again, we're 21 days out. I am not placing any real-time bids as a result. But that is the max that I would pay for this because, once again, quoting Warren Buffett, price is what you pay, value is what you get. Now, why am I telling you this? Because I routinely go after a plethora of different graded collectibles across multiple auction platforms at any given time, including eBay. And this is the same mantra that I use. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. And I go through this same process for any item that I want to look up and observe and watch and also potentially bid on. This is the system that I use for these type of items. Now, obviously, when we start getting into graded comic books, when we get into other collectibles, where there's a plethora of different auction sites and players, the market research involved gets a little bit more complex. Obviously, for comic books, I will use sites like GP Analysis or Go Collect. When it comes to something like proof cards, it's very straightforward. I usually do my own market research. I'm very comfortable doing my own market research, and I'm also comfortable doing my own lookup on the population reports. So I'm hoping you're getting something out of this. We're going to do just one more because I don't want to bombard you with all this information and make you sit here for over an hour while I go through every single proof card. So what we are going to do is I'm going to look up one more because there is a proof card on this list that really fascinates me. And it is this one right here. This is a Revenge of the Jedi Stormtrooper proof card in AFA 85. Now, believe it or not, these don't come up for bid too often. And when they do come up for bid, they usually get bidded up pretty quickly because a lot of people like the Stormtroopers, they like the Snow Troopers, they just like the troopers in general. So a lot of these, when they come up for bid, people usually go nuts after them. That doesn't mean they always sell for a high price. You will see examples where these sell for much more than I think, honestly, one should pay for them because people get caught in a heated bidding war. But overall, this is a pretty cool item. So we are going to quick look this up. So I want to jot down the serial number here because now we're going to go over to the population reports here through AFA. I'm going to enter this serial number, 15945. And this is going to tell me this item here was graded back in 2003. And again, it is an 85 Star Wars Revenge of the Jedi Stormtrooper proof card. We're going to click for the population report. And right off the bat, you're going to see there is a 95 out there. Do you know how hard it is to get a proof card to grade AFA 95 or above? There is one out there in existence. There is also an 85 plus out there in existence. But if you look, the vast majority of these are in 85 condition. This is the optimal collecting grade, as I've repeated multiple times throughout this video, for vintage Star Wars proof cards, especially from the Revenge of the Jedi line specifically. There are also 4 of these, though, in AFA 80, and there's one in AFA 75. There's a grand total of 27 of these out there in existence that were graded solely by AFA. Now, let's look up previous auction sales through Hake's for this item. Okay, here we go. This is the current piece that we're looking at, and this currently, again, has a bid of $1,777.77, and the auction doesn't even end until, again, a little over 21 days from today. Well, if we scroll through, we're going to see some prices all over the map here. We see one for $3,540, and this was back in 2018. Now, again, I've already disclosed to you why this is. There's a lot of people that love the Stormtrooper, the Snow Trooper proof cards. They will sell for a premium because if people are going to buy one example of one of these proof cards and they're only going to buy one, they usually want it of either a key character or something identifiable with Star Wars. And obviously, the Stormtroopers, the Snow Troopers, they're cool as shit. So people will pay a premium for this. So this, again, sold back in 2018 for $3,540. Now, there are others. This one here sold for $2,336.40 in 2022. Now, in my opinion, this obviously was the better deal. Because if I was going to bid on this item right now, I would probably put a bid in for this one that's currently up for bid of $2,400. Now, would I expect to win it for $2,400? No. But if I did, again, value is what you get, price is what you pay. Do you see my level of thinking? This is why when some of the trolls come at me and say, Sean, I'm going to bid you up. I know what you're going after. It doesn't matter. You're never, ever going to get me to enter into a bidding war because prior to a lot of these auctions, I do price and market research where I already know when the auction goes off what I'm willing to pay for these items. If you want to be a successful investor in these markets, this is something that you're going to have to get used to doing. I hope this video has been informative. If you like this video, if you want me to do more videos like this, please let me know in the comment section below. If you got nothing out of this video, please also let me know so I don't waste my time creating content like this. Thank you so much for watching. If you're subscribed to this channel, I assure you more detailed content like this is coming soon. Keep in mind, guys, I do these videos in one take with no editing. So as a result, it takes me a while to film a video like this. Thank you again, and I hope you enjoy your evening. And if you do choose to bid in this auction, may God have mercy on your soul. But I can assure you one thing. If I'm bidding on an item that you're interested in, I assure you, you will not be able to bid me up. Because again, I don't operate out of FOMO. I am a level-headed investor in the antiques and collectibles trade. That is the secret to my success. Thanks for watching.